Hey everybody, welcome back to Magic Orthodoxy. My name is David, and this is a deck review. Hey, today we're going to look at the Aristocrat release from Dan and Dave. What this is it's really a re-release, not so much a release. Dan and Dave, they've just released these two decks. The Aristocrats come in both red and blue. And they're from the Cincinnati United States Playing Card Company factory. Now the interesting thing about the Cincinnati factory is it no longer exists. It's not there anymore. In fact, the printing press that actually made these decks doesn't even exist anymore. And so these are vintage 2004 Aristocrat decks. They're probably nothing like anything you've ever seen or held. If you don't have any vintage decks, I mean, because right now, as of the making of this video, these decks are 11 years old. All right, so Dan and Dave haven't really said exactly how they came across these decks or what these decks are. There's only been some speculation on the internet about maybe, perhaps, this is what they are. So from some of the people that are out there, some of the people in the industry, what's suspected is these are decks that the United States Playing Card Company printed back in 2004, and they were probably originally decks that were given or shown to casinos so that casinos could use the Aristocrat brand in their casino. These are casino-backed cards, and we'll get to what they look like in just a second. And probably these cards have been sitting in a box, sitting in a warehouse, sitting somewhere for a really long time, and either USPCC came across them and offered them to Dan and Dave, or Dan and Dave came across a private seller who had these. Whatever the case, more than likely, since they're over 11 years old, and depending on where they were sitting, the original cellophane on the decks and probably the original tuck cases were yellowed or dented or wet or who knows, and so they were discarded. These tuck cases that you are seeing right now, these are new. These are brand new tuck cases that Dan and Dave have designed, and the old cards are inside of them. All right? As you can see, these decks came in both red and blue, and because I've opened my red deck, that's the deck that we're going to look at right now. All right, so the tuck case on this says US regulation across the front, has the vintage Aristocrat brand, and down at the bottom it does say playing cards. On both of the long sides, it just says A for Aristocrat. Down at the bottom, it's just really simple. It says Aristocrats and made in the USA. And then at the top, it does say that they are casino playing cards, and you get a custom Aristocrat decal with a long kind with a Aristocrat gentleman on the sticker. And then at the bottom, it says linen finish. The other really cool thing about the tuck case is it has the long tongue on the tuck flap. I really like that. It's more of the vintage look, and I'm glad that Dan and Dave have kept that vintage feel. Now, the interesting thing about the tuck case and how it was designed is nowhere on this tuck case does it say these cards are United States Playing Card Company, which is a little interesting because USPCC always puts that on all of their cards. And if you're really going to make a vintage tuck case, you would at least include that they were printed by the United States Playing Card Company, or even have the date on the bottom when they were made. One of the interesting things about this is that these decks, as you can see, they have a numbered seal. So they say that they're numbered out of 1,000. Now, Dan and Dave probably received 1,000 of these decks, but United States Playing Card Company has printed way more than 1,000 of these decks. Now, I'm sure there's 1,000 of these old decks in new boxes, but the actual deck inside, I'm sure, was printed in the thousands of thousands. So to say that this is 1 out of 1,000 or 2 out of 1,000 is kind of a little bit of a misnomer. I mean, it's fine for Dan and Dave, and it's fine for you if you want to collect these. But as far as having a vintage deck, the numbered seal on this really doesn't mean anything, because the cards inside have already been broken from their original cellophane. They've already been taken out of their original box and placed into new boxes. So if you've got these and you're just holding on to them because you think one day they'll be a collector's item, they probably won't be that much of a collector's item, considering the cards inside have already been removed from their original boxes. All right, so that's pretty much it for the tuck case. Let's take a look at these cards. All right, so here's the original 2004 Aristocrat Casino Back. As you can see, it is a standard casino back design. And you look at a lot of decks that come out of casinos, they have the same exact diamond repeating pattern. And then you have the little bubble that says Aristocrat at the top and bottom. And what the United States Playing Card Company would usually do is, instead of putting the word Aristocrat there, it it would be the name of the casino. And so this is why there are some that believe these are just casino samples that were given out to casinos so that they could see and feel cardstock and cut of the deck. All right, so we said these were printed by the United States Playing Card Company. Now you'd think that these would be on casino stock, but Aristocrat is actually the thinner stock. So this still would be Bicycle's retail stock, okay? Also, the box says that they're printed with linen finish, but a true linen finish was done with linen rollers. That technology doesn't exist anymore, and Aristocrat used to say that on all of their tuck cases. USPCC just continued to say that, but in reality, this is still your standard air cushion finish. So they're retail stock, they have air cushion embossing, but these do have a traditional cut. Now, if you want to find out if your cards have a traditional cut, it's really simple, and I'll give you a cheater way to figure it out, okay? You take your deck and you split it in half, and then with both the stacks face down, you shove them end to end and you push them into each other like you're gonna shuffle them together. Now, if they just butt heads and nothing happens, it might be a traditionally cut deck. And the way you figure that out is you take the deck and you turn it over, cut it in half again, and then you shove the ends end to end like this, and if they start to blend together like that, face up, then that is a traditional cut deck. With this deck, your extra card is a calendar. You have an Aristocrat calendar, and it does say right there that it was printed in 2004. And then the cool thing on the back is you have an Aristocrat UPC. Now, my red deck doesn't have a date there across the center bar. Some of the blue decks that are out there, the center bar has been printed on to give the exact date, and some of them I've seen have said September of 2004. So that's how you know that that's when they were printed. Another way to know when a deck's been printed is by looking at the Ace of Spades. As you can see, there's a little code down there at the bottom, and it says D7690. And there are charts out there on the internet. You could actually plug that date code into some of those charts, and you could figure out within a range of about 6 or 7 years when this deck was specifically made. Your two jokers with this deck are both standard and both identical. They're black and white. They simply say Joker, and it's a jester standing with a staff in his hand. Your pips and indice cards are all completely standard and instantly recognizable. Your court cards are also standard, but they're a little darker in color. Hey, these cards look and feel great, and this would be an awesome opportunity if you ever get a chance to pick up one. I know Dan and Dave sold out, but if you get a chance to grab one of these, it's an awesome chance to have a piece of history. You know, a deck of cards made from the Cincinnati United States Playing Card Company factory, which no longer exists anymore, to feel like vintage Aristocrats back before the newer plant started making them. These would be a great addition to your collection. And like I said, if they're in the tuck seal and you're worried about breaking the seal, go ahead, break the seal. The seal was already broken a long time ago before they were put in these new boxes. I don't think they'll be worth anything in the future. You might as well bust them out and play with them. The cards were meant to be played with. All right, so that's my review for the Aristocrats from Dan and Dave. As always, we recommend that you like this video just so other people can find it faster. We also recommend that you subscribe to this channel just to stay up to date on the latest in cards and card magic. If you want to follow me on social media, you can. I'm at facebook.com/magicorthodoxy, twitter.com/magicorthodoxy, and instagram.com/magic_orthodoxy. Thanks, bye.